Do you have HVAC questions that you need answers to? This is Tech Talk. I'm Kendall Crampton, Service Manager here at Randazzo Heating and Cooling.
And I'm Doug Kramer, one of the service techs here at Randazzo Heating and Cooling.
And today we've got a list of questions from our customers that we're going to go over, starting with how to tell if your furnace is ready for winter. So Doug, our customers are wondering if there's any DIY tips that you can give them for how to prepare for winter versus calling a professional.
Oh, well, for starters, I would say just go to your thermostat, turn it to the heat mode, turn the temperature up above room temperature, let it run through a cycle. And if there is an issue with it, it's going to rear its ugly head. But you want to make sure that it starts out at the initial inducer motor turning on, if it has one, if it's a newer furnace. Then you'd hear the ignition start up. And then shortly after that, you'll hear the main blower turn on. You want to make sure that everything is good there. If nothing happens, first thing I would go to is my thermostat, check to make sure that the batteries are good. Just make sure that everything that is simple is doing what it should be doing.
Sure. Is there any maintenance items that customers can kind of check themselves to ensure that everything is lined up and prepared for winter?
Well, the first thing I would start off with would be make sure your furnace filter is clean for the season. Let's start out the season with a fresh filter. The next thing I would do would be to make sure, if you're going to start there, you might as well put a new humidifier pad in, get that nice and clean so there's no spores or anything in there. Those are the two biggest things, and batteries in the thermostat.
And how often should someone be replacing their furnace filter throughout the heating season?
Well, it all depends. They've got your simple MERV 8 filter, which is a 1-inch filter. That should be checked at least once a month. I would say I would not let it go any more than 3 months. If you have the 5-inch media filter, those are supposed to be good for a year, but I would at least check that every 4 or 5 months.
So what about professional maintenance? How often should you have a professional come out and actually perform a maintenance on your system?
Well, let's look at it this way. You're talking the safety of you and your family. I recommend at least once a year to have the system looked over by a professional. Make sure it's operating the way it should, as well as safely. That's the most important thing.
Is this something that a homeowner can do themselves?
To a point. I still recommend having a company come out because there are fine things that are in the furnace that need to be checked. The ohms readings on the hot surface igniters, the ohms, the amp draws on the inducer motors. Make sure the pressure switches are working the way they should. Tubes are clear, burners are clear. Blower motors, make sure that they're not over amping to cause problems. I would say let a company come out and do it.
Thank you so much, Doug, for all your help and knowledge. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
That concludes today's Tech Talk.